Okay, it's Friday the 9th of February, and tonight is a new moon. And quite often, new moons are turning points for Bitcoin. And quite often, at a new moon or a few days afterwards, we'll see a little bit of a local high or a correction, and sometimes a dump. Let's talk about that. This week, though, has been supremely bullish. If we look at Bitcoin ETF flows since the rally began, you can see that yesterday we saw a really nice rally, the biggest move that we've really seen this month or in 10 days into Bitcoin. And you know, Bitcoin is one of those assets where it really doesn't have that many macro fundamental drivers. Really, price drives the bus. If price is going up, people are going to buy it, and they don't want to miss out, and vice versa. Price has been going up, nobody wants to miss out, and that's that. So when we were talking about Bitcoin, we were talking about, is this a new upswing, or is this just a bigger ABC? I have these grey circles are new moons, and the yellow circles are full moons, and you can see that they do correlate quite nicely with kind of highs or corrections, or the start of corrections. Certainly the one in December saw a nasty sell-off, and the last high that we had that lined up, of course, with the ETF launch was also a new moon. So new moons tend to either be sideways consolidation or pullback levels. And if we go all the way back, you can see, like, it's not just here, you know, that is the way it happens. Now, and they're not firm science, but they're pretty close. If we go back to 2021, 2022, really they were quite marked patterns. So potentially over this weekend we could either see a little bit of a correction, or this could be one of those typical crypto double top things that we see quite a lot. What do I mean by that? Well, for example, here when we made the high in April, we retested it in July. Here, this is a typical crypto double top and a sideways range. It would be a really obvious correction if we made an equal measured move, we said. So if we measure from this low to high, and we project from the low of last swing low, this end of the correction, we are a little bit sideways at this equal measured move level. In the spot, it's at 47,500. In the futures, it's a little bit higher. So if we were to close here or around this price, at this equal measured move price, I would say potentially we're going to we'll either see a wave for sideways and continue higher to test that 50,000 level as we expected. But if we were to close back underneath this 61.8 fib level at 45,550, 45,543, that would say that this is just a B-leg correction. So we've made a three-wave measured move, and then we would be... So the two alternatives are that we do a three-wave correction here, like something like this, or this is a final swing and we're going to do a big five waves. Now, if we keep going here above this equal measured move level, 50,800 in spot Bitcoin is the 1.618 level. And we could very easily do a little bit of that, something like that, or a five-wave move. We might not even get that far on this one. We might actually just get up to, say, I don't know, that 50,000 level, which is up here, and then something like that. Normally, if you do a fifth wave, there is a really strong mathematical relationship between the first wave and the fifth wave. So if we do this and we do a wave 4 over the weekend, that'll be quite cool, because then we can measure it. So tonight is going to be all about how are we going to close around this 47,582 level. If we close at or around it, drop back underneath it and stall here, then I'm not going to be feeling so bullish. I think there's a possibility it's just a bigger correction. So let's take those Muni things off. That's where we are then in Bitcoin. Interesting level to watch. So You know, are we going to do one of these corrections like we did here? You know, if we look at pretty much most, let's put regular candles on, most Bitcoin highs and lows, we tend to make highs and lows like this. So here, back in 2021, we made a high, and then we retested that high with a higher high and reversed. Same thing here, high, slightly higher, high, and reversed. And we do that in the bottoms as well, either really deep retraces or slightly lower low. And so, you know, we really need to go beyond this high and then kind of only shallow pull back and keep going if we're going to keep going. There is the potential that we're going to do one of those crypto moves, and there is the potential that that round number 50,000 level could see some profit taking. However, no way to disagree. You know, this chart is really strong. Bitcoin is not a sell. This is a profit taking level to watch at the moment. Okay, let's talk about ETH. Because is ETH going to chase Bitcoin higher? Because remember, in ETH, we're at a big 61.8 fib retrace level from this high to low. And for me, 618 fib levels are quite interesting because they're always so messy. I thought we had a pretty strong resistance level at 24.41, which is a 50% retrace from this high to low. Also, these previous highs, there was a lot to argue about this, but we are, in fact, in a stronger move higher. So just like Bitcoin, we could argue, is this just a three-wave correction, and are we going to see another swing high, lower here from here, or are we going to keep going? If we get to the swing, which is 1.618 of the first leg, that's at 2606. If we get up here, if we reverse from where we are now, the 61.8 fib level, to be honest, I think that we could go either way, and underneath 2379, I think that potentially this is a three-wave correction, and we'll see another swing lower back down to this 2100 level. If we, however, if we keep pushing higher and we achieve this 2600 level, where we are 1.618 of this first swing, then potentially a wave 3 and another leg higher in ETH to retest the highs. So looking really strong. Those are the levels that I'm watching for, and how we close tonight and what we do this weekend with these levels will tell us whether we really are on a new big upswing again, or whether we're just in the kind of mid-wave, the second swing or B leg of a bigger correction in these. Now, just the other topping pattern, obviously, if we get up here, is going to be, are we going to double top or do one of those bigger swing failure patterns? So we're at just one of those levels at the moment. We're sideways, we're looking really strong. We need to see if this, make sure that this, no harm in buying this, but just make sure that this does not turn into a bigger topping pattern. Okay, let's take a look at some altcoins that are looking interesting. I am actually watching SUI at the moment. Now, we could argue in SUI that this was a little bit of a triangle consolidation, and I usually expect third touches of trend lines to be false breakouts. I would really like to see SUI close above this daily 50 moving average to get back to the top of this channel, and that would say this was a three-wave correction and we're on our way up again. The really key level, though, for me is going to be this previous swing high, this descending channel here, and that comes in around 1.2 if we can close above here. I think that that potentially looks for me like 5 waves up here in SUI, in sushi, and then 3 waves back. So this one is big on my watch list, waiting to see if that one can have a go. Let's take a look at Woo. Now, in terms of measured moves in Woo, I'm not too worried a moment when I look at this big swing, but when I look from here, it's clear that either, I think we're in a little bit of a wave 4. If we look at, we measure this first swing, project it from this low, we reach that 1.618 level that was key on the weekly here, and so I think that we are likely to potentially see a wave 4 and then continue higher from here. So if this is just a correction, I really want to see 3 waves and I want to see it turn up again. And it's kind of looking pretty good, isn't it? If we look at what we've done here, just like sushi, we have made a very nice three-wave correction. We're around sideways at this 61.8 level. When we do that, what I want to see is back above this. If we're going to really fly, we need to get back above this daily 50 moving average. We're not quite there yet. That's going to be the key resistance for me in the bull bear line. You can see this daily 50 is pretty good support and resistance. So yeah, it looks really good, but just like Bitcoin and ETH and so many others, we don't want this rally just to be a correction and another leg lower. So 0.3962, a break and close above that, I think is going to be looking pretty good. Trendline traders are going to be drawing it like this. And that actually puts our resistance a little bit higher if we do it that way at this 1.618 level, isn't it? At 4.1. So I feel like it's almost letting other people do the hard work here. In other words, let it get up here. Let's do that false breakout and then go for real. And then buying it here, you know, gives me much more kind of confidence. However, you want to get in early and going to look away if we get jostled on the breakout. That's fine. I think we's looking really strong, and I would keep riding this one. Let's take a look at. Let's just look at the targets if we break out here now. If we say from this low, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then wave 1 and 5 often have a mathematical relationship. So I'm going to measure this first swing, projecting from here. I would say, gosh, we get to the equal measure move, we haven't made probably 0.57 and 0.72 would be my second target, and that's just based on measured moves, but really I think it's looking good. Let's see if we can break out from this consolidation and be on our way higher again in we want to watch for sure. Let's look at SAROS. Okay, this is quite interesting. Just make sure. Whenever you see a chart like this, these, you know, previous lows, if you haven't got any moving averages, which we've just got the 20 moving average, these previous lows and highs become a little bit important, and that doesn't look too bad at the moment. If you're not sure though, and what I tend to do is take the most recent swing lower, see if it's reacting to any fib levels, and for that I need to go down to the 4-hour. And we've kind of paused at 50% of this swing, which means we're at a little bit of a risk to do a 50% pullback going the other way here. In terms of these 4-hour moving averages, this 20 moving average was really well respected. I would like to see it pull back 50% into these 4-hour moving averages and have another go higher. Whichever way, when you look at this swing here, potentially it looks pretty good. Let's look at it like this. It looks pretty good. I'd like to see a 3-wave correction at least, and then another swing higher in this one. So it's not a sure thing that we've bottomed yet, but I think that this should at least make another swing higher in SAROS. Let's look at Jupiter. Again, this is another one. When you kind of get this crypto double bottom swing failure pattern, which we've got here, which also looks like a very nice 3-wave correction, it's always a really nice look for another swing higher. So then we would have this first swing. I don't know if this is a bottom or not, or if we're going to be, you know, making just big 3-wave corrective swings at the moment, but this is definitely, in terms of a momentum, turning up again. So here on the daily, back above this daily 50 would be first look. That's at 2, and then above this swing high we can say, yeah, probably back to these highs and bigger retrace levels. Now if we go from the low to the high in this one, this first swing was very nice, 38.2. This lines us up for one of those, my favorite moves really, which is basically a 3-wave equal correction, which takes us to the 50 or the 61.8. So if we do that here, you can just measure this first swing and then this second swing. Very nicely lines up with the 50% at 3.13. So for me, I think very nicely if we can get back above this daily 50 moving average, this newly minted one, and these highs at 2.17, our next upside target is 3.13, which doesn't sound like much, but that's like a 50% move, you know, from just from here to here in this trade. So yes, JTO looking really good for another leg higher as well. Let's take a look at Link. Now in Link, we broke, as you know, we broke above this big 236 fib level from the high that we made in 2021 to the low that we made in 2023, and we got stuck under this level for quite a while. This is our first target on the long when we were making the space, and from here we shouldn't close back underneath this level now. And next upside target is 23, 28, and then 28.9. So here we are starting a pullback. We honestly should not close underneath 16.26. And we just have to wait for this to reset and be going high again. So I stay bullish Link. It's just, we have to ride out this pullback. Now, some people are going to be looking at this and going, oh, it's not a head and shoulders. It's not. This is the neckline. I think though we need a 3-wave correction, and that either could be finished here, or it could be one of those equal measured moves which would bring us back to this low. For me, the ideal place to buy it back here is down at 17.5, but it might not come back that far and it might turn higher again. How are we going to know? Well, really a breakout from these really tight moving averages and then a break above these highs would say we're on our way up again. I think it could go either way. Honestly, it would be a sure thing for me back at 17.5, but if we rally from here in just a really nice bullish pennant, I would be bullish also. Target 23.28. So I'm going to put an alarm on this trend line, and then I'll get it on my phone if we break higher in Link. Let's take a look at Ripple and see if any of these other bigger cap altcoins are doing anything now. In Ripple, we had been watching for this 0.49, basically 0.5 level to hold as support, and we have an upside target for us at 0.55, and above 0.55 we're going up. If we reverse and cannot get above 0.55, it's just a bounce and a downtrend. That's how I'm looking at this. So pretty nice close today above this 20 moving average. Remember, if it's a corrective pattern, you know, what we'll end up doing is big 3-wave moves. So we'll do a 3-wave move like this, then a 3-wave move back, you know, and something like that. That would be a bearish pattern. If this swing, just like we looked at in Bitcoin, if this swing ends up being a really big 1.618, then I would expect a wave 4 and it would keep going. So we need to really just watch how this unfolds. I'm going to go down to the hourly and we'll measure the swings just like we did in Bitcoin. So I think, you know, we're sideways at this 0.52 and 0.538. We kind of don't really want to stop here if we can help it. And because otherwise we could end up doing that bigger 3-wave thing. But yeah, pretty hopeful. I would really like Ripple above 0.55, because above 0.55 we should at a minimum get back to the middle of this range. But this is a daily chart. If middle of this range and, you know, back to these daily moving averages at 0.6, and then hopefully next swing higher. So Ripple looking really good. You know, if we can't get beyond, you know, this, I know we haven't paid that much respect to this weekly moving average, but more lately we have this 200 moving average. above it, for me, you know, we're definitely on our way up again. And then we would say, well, this swing is over, 3-wave correction over, on our way up again. So yeah, it's certainly having a go. It's looking good, but needs to do a little bit more to prove itself. Let's take a look at AVAX. So quite a big fan of this one. I have a little position. Now, what I really like when I look big picture at this chart of AVAX is how we have flipped our weekly moving averages bullish, pulled back and found support from them. So just like Bitcoin, is this just a corrective bounce and we're going to do another leg lower, or is this a new upswing? I like how this looks as a 3-wave correction. I like how today we're going to close above the daily 50 moving average, and that usually almost always points to a strong move higher when we do that. If we look at where the next trouble levels are, 38.6 is the 50% from this high in December to the low at the end of January. And when I'm not sure though, I put my fibs on from this high to low. I looked, did the other levels get respected? And if we look at this, 236 fib was support, then resistance and support, 38.2 definitely. And so we just go level to level to level. 38.6 is next, above that 41.2, and then so on until we make new highs. Can't tell you if this is going to be a new upswing or yet or not. Just like Bitcoin, could be a B leg. So we had our first swing, 3-wave correction, first target, then 39 this way and 43. I think we had what, 39 and 42, didn't we, with our fibs? And let's see where they line up. Actually, we had 41. So yeah, I don't know, but closing and holding, you can see closing and holding above this daily 50 should see a bigger strong move higher. Now if you want to trade this, I like this on a shorter term time frame. As you know, I'll put these Heiken-Ashi on an hourly or a 15-minute. If you're shorter time frame trading, you really want to buy pullbacks into these shorter time frame moving averages, watch for them to turn higher again, and yeah, 39.76 would be my next upside target for AVAX, and we'll see if we can turn this into a bigger move and a new swing higher. Let's take a look lastly at Solana. Now Solana, of course, had that shut down temporarily. They recovered pretty quickly, I have to say. On the weekly, we are sideways. In terms of fib retrace levels, we're sideways at a 38.2. Sometimes if you're not sure that the market is reacting to the fib levels you're looking at, it's sometimes helpful to put them on the way and see if we're doing a kind of bigger fib pattern. If we do that, all-time low to highs, the next upside target here is at 130, which is 50% of the all-time low to highs. And if we go from this low to high as well, 133. So somewhere between 130 and 133 is my next upside target. We're at 106 at the moment in Solana. And if we look left, we can see at this level, we have got really interesting swing lows, and a high here as well. So that's how I'm looking at Solana. I have to say that I think there is a risk that we end up doing a little bit more sideways here in a wave 4. And that's mainly because when I look at how long these previous corrections took, I'm not convinced yet this is new upswing. So on the lower time frames, I'm going to be doing in all of these coins and tokens and assets, I'm doing the same thing, watching that this isn't just a 3-wave correction in a bigger correction. You know, it's so easy to see a 3-wave correction. You know, you're in a big uptrend, you see a 3-wave correction, you think you're on a way up again, and sometimes they just turn into, you know, bigger 3-wave corrections before you go up again. So this is what the risk is here in Solana as well. This is what we need to watch out for this weekend. 109 and 120. We really need to push above 120. That would be my, if you're long. I mean, I like how we're holding above this 38.2 level. We could argue this is potentially a continuation head and shoulders pattern, but we've got, it's not, I mean, shorter time frame, it does look like we're kind of holding this level another leg higher. So I'm going to say 109.8 and then 120 next upside, and then I would really like to see 133 next for Solana. And if that's the case, obviously then this little pullback sell-off was a little bit of a gift. So clearly here, when we look at this on the daily, we have got the look of that continuation pattern, haven't we? And if we measure from the head to the neckline and project it from our breakout level, that takes us exactly, the head and shoulders, inverted head and shoulders pattern target does take us to 133.95 next upside target. So yeah, good look in Solana as well. Good luck with that. Let me know if there's anything you'd like me to look at over the